Okay, so let me start today's talk. So basically what I will be talking about is a part of carbohydrate metabolism. Carbohydrates, just a brief introduction what carbohydrates are. Carbohydrates are compounds, hydrates of carbon. Hydrate means H2O. So it's got a carbon and an H2O. So as you know, the compound is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So carbohydrates basically they are sugars, starch, cellulose, all these important compounds. They are all carbohydrates. Most important carbohydrate is the starch, which are the rice which you eat, then the sugars. So you basically study sugars in this particular thing. So carbohydrates, let us, since in my part I will be talking about metabolism, I will not delve into too much about carbohydrate structure and the different types of carbohydrate. They will be dealt with Shongita madam. But just in order to get an idea about what metabolism, whose metabolism you are studying, uh, I'll just deal a little bit about the structure of carbohydrates. Just to show that carbohydrates constitute 80% of our food, and it is the major source of energy. And people like me who have got diabetes, they have got a major issue in carbohydrate metabolism, because the important hormone insulin, which is required for uptake of glucose into the cells so that the cells can get energy, that is sort of it's not working properly. You don't have enough insulin, or the receptors for insulin are not working, so your blood sugar rises, and that is leads to a host of different metabolic disorders, as well as kidney failures. But lots of basically it's a silent killer. If you control your sugar, this problem doesn't exist. So just a brief about what carbohydrates are. So I'll start presenting my screen. So carbohydrates, they are sort of glycans, have the following basic composition: CH2ON. That is, if you have C6H12O6. So this is carbon plus hydrates, carbohydrates. Carbon is carbo and hydrates. And essentially they are monosaccharides, which are the simple sugars with multiple OH groups based on the number of carbons, whether there is 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Monosaccharide is a triose, tetrose, pentose, or hexose. You also have the disaccharides. That is our sucrose, chini. This, the sugar, common sugar which we consume. They basically have 2 units. The saccharide word comes from shakkar. One of the, mostly in science, the words come from Latin, but this is one of the things where it comes from Sanskrit. You also have oligosaccharides and polysaccharides, many, like your starch or the glycogen, they are polysaccharides. Now, monosaccharides, this is the structure of glucose, 6 carbon. There is an aldehyde group here, they are known as aldoses, or they have a ketone group over here, they are known as ketoses, like fructose. We talk about this, Shongita madam will talk about this. I'll just go to the part where this is a straight chain carbohydrate or D-glucose in a linear form. You have the aldehyde group over here. This is the aldehyde group over here. This is the aldehyde group, CHO. This is C, double bond O. This is the aldehyde group. And you attach to that, you have the H. This is the aldehyde. And this is the first carbon. Then you have the second carbon. Then you have the third carbon and the fourth carbon. and the sixth carbon. Now when this attacks this, a structure like this is formed. This is known as a pyranose, 6-carbon pyranose ring. So this is also a glucose molecule. So we are essentially going to talk about carbohydrate metabolism using this structure. Basically, the first carbon is here, second carbon here, you don't write it here. Third carbon is here, you don't write it. You don't write it. There is another carbon over here. In this red regions which I've drawn, you don't write it. And of course, the sixth carbon, you draw it. This is the sixth carbon. This is the sixth carbon, this one. The CH2OH. The CH2OH is over here. And since this attacks here, it forms a hemiacetal compound. When an alcohol and an aldehyde react, then this is an alcohol group and this is an aldehyde group. When an alcohol and aldehyde react, they form an acetyl group, and this is basically called a pyranose. So this is basically the structure of a glucose, and this glucose is in its cyclic form. So now let us go to the place in my section. So is my slides visible? If Monidipto, if you can tell, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let me go to my glycolysis, or this is the first part of carbohydrate metabolism. So as you can see, this is the first carbon over here. Let's take a laser pointer. So this is the carbohydrate molecule over here. Carbon molecule. This is a carbohydrate, of course. This is glucose 6-phosphate. This compound is glucose 6-phosphate. It is formed from a molecule, the CH2OH, which you have seen. Instead of there, you have in the sixth carbon a phosphate group over here. This is glucose 6-phosphate. Glycolysis takes place in the cytosol of cell. Glucose enters the glycolysis pathway by conversion to glucose 6-phosphate. So a molecule of glucose becomes glucose 6-phosphate. This is the sixth carbon, first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and this is the sixth carbon. So let's see if anybody has got questions. First, let me check if anybody has got questions. Anybody has raised hands? Okay, nobody has raised hands. If you have problems, please raise your hands. Time to time, I will come and check. So glycolysis takes place in the cytosol of cells. Glucose enters the glycolysis pathway by conversion to glucose 6-phosphate. Initially, there is energy input corresponding to cleavage of 2 phosphate bonds of ATP. Initially, ATP is needed. From this phosphate comes from ATP. So this is the famous glucose molecule over here. This is the famous, the sixth carbon. Okay, one molecule of ATP comes inside. In this reaction, you need the enzyme hexokinase. ATP gets hydrolyzed, that is, it breaks down and it becomes ADP, and one phosphate goes and joins here and forms glucose 6-phosphate. This glucose 6-phosphate has got higher energy. So hexokinase, it catalyzes the reaction glucose plus ATP, glucose 6-phosphate plus ADP. This reaction involves the nucleophilic attack of the C6 hydroxyl oxygen of on P of the terminal phosphate of ATP. So nucleophilic attack means nucleus seeking attack. So it will be attacking this is the nucleus seeking attack. Nucleus means proton seeking attack. So this phosphate, it's very negative. It will be always seeking H plus. So it attacks CH2O and becomes CH2OPO3 essentially. ATP binds to the enzyme as a complex with magnesium. So if magnesium is absolutely required in this reaction. So this is the structure of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It has got a molecule of adenine. This is a ribose sugar. This is the a pyranose ribose sugar and triphosphate. You have 3 phosphates. This is phosphate 1, phosphate 2, phosphate 3. They are also known as, sometimes they are called as, this is known as alpha phosphate, this is known as beta phosphate, and this is known as gamma phosphate. So this is, as you know, that this oxygen is negatively charged, this is negatively charged, there is a negative charge, there are so many negative charges over here. So this is a highly negative compound. It's got lots of negative charges over there. So this positive magnesium is required. It interacts with the negatively charged phosphate oxygen atoms, providing charge compensation and promoting a favorable conformation of ATP at the active site of the hexokinase enzyme. So to neutralize this negative charge, you need a positive magnesium ion. So the reaction catalyzed by hexokinase is spontaneous. It occurs spontaneously. The reaction goes in this direction very spontaneously. A phosphoanhydride bond of ATP is cleaved. So that is, if I go, this bond this is cleaved. This part is cleaved. So this phosphate PO3 2- attaches to the glucose. A phosphate ester formed in glucose 6-phosphate has a lower delta G of hydrolysis. So this is the compound which is formed, glucose 6-phosphate. Now the binding, it is there is a in your higher secondary you have read about induced fit binding and lock and key mechanism and induced fit mechanism. In lock and key mechanism, you essentially have a lock in which a key fits and the key it turns and the lock opens. So your action is what you have is your glucose is your lock and the enzyme is the key. So the enzyme enters into the substrate, the glucose, and it turns. So that is lock and key. In induced fit mechanism, this is what happens. This is the enzyme hexokinase. The glucose goes inside it and the enzyme fits it inside. So it is not like a lock and key. So depending upon the shape of glucose, the shape of hexokinase adjusts. So this is known as induced fit. In lock and key, you need to have a particular shell, a lock into which only a particular key will join. So khape khap. It doesn't happen over here. Over here, it is like something shaped like this. It comes, the hexokinase binds, and then it makes it fit. So it induces a fit so that glucose can bind. And in this hexokinase also, you have ATP also coming and binding in. This is known as the active site of the enzyme, the site where all the work takes place. That is the active site. So this is how glucose binds, and then glucose binds and ATP binds, and phosphate is cut off from ATP and it is attached to the glucose, and glucose, it becomes glucose 6-phosphate. The next step is the step of phosphoglucose isomerase. So glucose 6-phosphate this glucose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Glucose becomes fructose. This is a ketal form. So you have the carbon over here, it comes out over here. It's a ketone type of structure. This is fructose 6-phosphate. This is known as isomerization reaction, where an aldose, a glucose 6-phosphate, gets converted into fructose, which is a ketose. The next step is the famous step of phosphofructokinase, or PFK. This is a very famous, or it is also known as the rate limiting step. This is the rate limiting step of glycolysis. Rate limiting steps are those steps which control the reaction rate. So how fast or how slow the reaction glycolysis takes place is controlled by this. If ADP amount in the cell is low, then this stimulates this enzyme to work more harder, and more fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-phosphate. So in this step, fructose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. It gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So this is fructose 6-phosphate. So in the sixth carbon it is there. Now it is there 1,6-bisphosphate. So you have one in the 1 and another here. So another ATP molecule is utilized in this step, phosphofructokinase. Whenever the kinase is involved, there is always an ATP is hydrolyzed. So already you see that there are two molecules of ATP which have been spent. One is in the hexokinase step and one is in the phosphofructokinase step. So say fructose 6-phosphate becomes fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Now, a very interesting step happens. Now I am drawing it in a straight chain manner. It's not in a circular manner. I have shown what the straight chain manner is. So carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the enzyme aldolase, it breaks it over here and breaks and forms a dihydroxyacetone phosphate and the famous glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now, an enzyme known as triose phosphate isomerase can change dihydroxyacetone phosphate to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and vice versa, the other way around. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate can be converted back into dihydroxyphosphate. So this reaction is an aldol cleavage. So it's an opposite of aldol condensation. Aldol condensation, when an aldehyde and a ketone they react and it forms a substance known as aldol. This is essentially an fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is an aldol. So it is basically this aldol is cleaved into the ketone. This is the ketone. Ketone has got two carbon groups attached to in two arms, and one has got a double bond oxygen, and the aldehyde group has got one double bond oxygen, and instead of a carbon there is an hydrogen. So this is the difference between an aldehyde and a ketone in organic chemistry. So now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are renumbered. Like 1, this is 1, 2, 3, and again this is 1, 2, 3. They get renumbered. So for breaking this, in the enzyme aldolase, there is a lysine residue. This is an amino acid lysine. It is important for this breaking. So therefore, it is don't have to read too much about these shifts intermediate, but this lysine group in the aldolase enzyme is very important. Remember, for breaking this aldol into DHAP and GAPDH, dihydroxyacetone and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So the triose phosphate isomerase, as you know, it can convert this to this, and When required, it will convert this back to this. It can convert an aldehyde to ketone and a ketone to aldehyde. It's the same thing. The same type of isomerization reaction occurs when glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate. দেখি কারোর কোয়েশ্চেন আছে কিনা। কোয়েশ্চেন থাকলে একটু রেজ হ্যান্ডস করে দাও, তাহলে তোমাদের উত্তরটা দেব। কারোর কোয়েশ্চেন নেই? ওকে, এতই ভালো পড়াচ্ছি, কোয়েশ্চেন হচ্ছে না? আচ্ছা, ভালো। Okay, so this is we have talked about pentane. So we have talked about triose phosphate isomerase. Another word is TIM. So this is what happens when this step goes. There is an intermediate. This thing known as an enediol formation takes place. This will be taught extensively, exclusively by Shongita madam. Ask her to explain how dihydroxyacetone phosphate gets converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, or how an glucose gets converted into fructose automatically, how it is converted back. You will understand that one thing, it goes through an compound known as enediol formation. It goes through an enediol intermediate. This type of enediol, this is, as you can see that this migrates over here. This double bond, essentially it comes over here. The electron moves over here, and so it becomes like this, and therefore the oxygen is empty, and a hydrogen from the media, this hydrogen comes and it binds over here. Okay, and then this hydrogen comes out, goes away, and then it becomes a double bond over here. This electron migrates over from here to here. So essentially this bond goes from here to here, essentially. So it goes through an intermediate enediol formation. So the active site has got glutamine and histidine residues, and they are thought to extract and donate protons during this catalysis. So proton is nothing but this H plus which is coming inside, and this H plus, this another H plus which is coming inside, this red plus. This is nothing but protons. So H plus is, it is protons. I have to buy a graphic pad tablet. It's easier to write. Very difficult with a mouse. H plus protons. So this is the this is the proposed phosphate enediolate intermediate. Just you have to remember the structure of it. It is a transition state. It's in between transition, not permanent. So this is the structure of how triose phosphate isomerase is known. It's an alpha beta barrel. This will be taught by Shongita madam when she explains the structure of proteins. Shongita madam পড়াবে এগুলো। Okay, so now glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate takes a phosphate from the cytoplasm, NAD plus from the cytoplasm, and converts that into NADH plus H plus, and this phosphate goes and binds over here. ঠিক আছে? So it goes and binds over here. And this compound is known as glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate gets converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. So in this step, you can see that this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, actually it has got 2 phosphates now. It goes into a higher energy state. Remember that there is one dihydroxyacetone phosphate formed, DAP, after the aldol cleavage takes place by aldolase, and the glyceraldehyde gap 3-phosphate G3P. Some people call this as G3P. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Some people call them. So DAP and GAP, they are interconvertible. So actually, essentially, this DAP gets converted to GAP. So there are two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphates actually working. That means there are two of these phosphates which are taken, and two of these NAD plus which are taken, and two of these NADH plus H plus which are taken, and two of this molecule which is formed. So this is how it takes place. একবার দেখে নি if there are questions. Shambhavi.
স্যার বলছিলাম যে যতগুলো আপনি এগুলো গ্লাইকোলিসিসের কি এগুলো স্টেপ বাই স্টেপ এক একটা মানে কেমিক্যাল রিঅ্যাকশন থ্রু দেখাচ্ছেন গ্লাইকোলিসিসের পুরো মেকানিজমটা?
হ্যাঁ বলো, আরেকবার বলো কোয়েশ্চেনটা।
বললাম যে এতগুলো যে স্টেপস গুলো আমরা দেখলাম ওগুলো সব গ্লাইকোলিসিসেই তো ইনভলভ হচ্ছে না, মানে স্টেপ বাই স্টেপ যতগুলো মানে 6টা স্টেপ এখন অবধি আসলো তোর মধ্যে।
এক্স্যাক্টলি।
আচ্ছা
হ্যাঁ 6টা স্টেপেতে এক্স্যাক্টলি গ্লাইকোলাইসিসের স্টেপ।
ঠিক আছে।
6টা স্টেপ। ফৌজিয়া বলছে কুছ আওয়াজ নেহি আ রা হ্যায়। তারপরে সৌরভ দুবে বলছে স্যার শুনতে পাচ্ছি না, সাউন্ড কাটা কাটা আসছে। এটা হচ্ছে তোমাদের নেটওয়ার্কটা একটু তোমার খারাপ আছে, তাই জন্য আসছে না। তোমার তো জিও সৌরভ, তাই জন্য তোমার এই প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে। চিন্তা করো না, রেকর্ডিংটা তো পাঠিয়ে দেবো, ইউটিউবে তুলে দেবো। ওটা যখন তোমার নেটওয়ার্কটা ভালো থাকবে তখন তুমি শুনে নিও। যখন শুনে নিয়ে তোমার যদি কোয়েশ্চেন্স থাকে तখন তুমি আস্ক করবে। फौजिया वही बता रहा हूँ तुमको, इसका रिकॉर्डिंग तो भेज दे रहा हूँ। अगर नेटवर्क जब तुम्हारा ठीक रहेगा उस समय वो वीडियो देख लेना, और जो जो क्वेश्चंस है मुझे व्हाट्सएप में लिख देना या फोन करके पूछ लेना। और टेंशन मत लो, सब हो जाता है सब, डोंट वरी। নেটওয়ার্ক প্রবলেমস উইল স্টে। আবার সম্ভবই হাতটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে নাকি হাতটা নামিয়ে নাও? যদি কোয়েশ্চেন না থাকে হাতটা নামিয়ে নাও। আরো কোয়েশ্চেন নেই তো তোমার?
না স্যার নেই।
হাত নামিয়ে নিয়েছো, ঠিক আছে। আছে?
না না নেই নেই নেই।
কোয়েশ্চেন নেই তাহলে? কোয়েশ্চেন নেই তো সম্ভবই আর? ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা মণিদীপ, তো বলো এবারে দেখা যাচ্ছে কিনা স্লাইডটা?
না স্যার,
দেখা যাচ্ছে না?
না। ইউ আর প্রেজেন্টিং টু এভরিওয়ান, ওইটা দেখা যাচ্ছে।
আবার প্রেজেন্ট করছি, দাঁড়াও, স্টপ প্রেজেন্ট করে আবার প্রেজেন্ট করছি। এবার দেখা যাচ্ছে মনিদীপ্ত?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, হ্যাঁ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, ওই জন্যই তোমাকে অন রেখেছি বা 2-4 জনকে অন রেখেছি। প্রবলেম যেটা হচ্ছে আর আওয়াজ কেটে যাওয়াটা হচ্ছে, দ্যাট ইজ দ্য নেটওয়ার্ক প্রবলেম, আইদার অন মাই সাইড অর ইউর সাইড। ইট কান্ট বি হেল্প। You also cannot do anything. I also cannot be able to do anything. So what I can do actually, this is, since it's automatically recorded, so this recording I will send it to you, and so you will not miss anything. That is the best part of this thing, that you can record it. এটা বেশি খায় কিন্তু রেকর্ডিংটা ভালো হয়ে যায়। And parallelly at least 30-40 classes are going through this one platform centrally. Okay. So I have just explained this step. The next step is the step of phosphoglycerate kinase. So this was the 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate which was formed. Now the opposite happens. One molecule of ADP gets converted to one molecule of ATP. এই ফসফেটটা গিয়ে এখানে জুড়ে যাচ্ছে. So you have a molecule of ATP being formed. And if you remember correctly, this is whatever happens into 2, because there are 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate entering into this place. And that is one from DAP, which is converted to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and one glyceraldehyde phosphate which is formed from the aldol cleavage step of aldolase when it breaks fructose 1,6-bisphosphate into DAP and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So phosphoglycerate kinase, it catalyzes this reaction. 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate plus ADP, 3-phosphoglycerate plus ATP. This is how it works. Similar mechanism like that of hexokinase. The next step, so this compound which is formed, which is that 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate forms 3-phosphoglycerate. So 3-phosphoglycerate with the help of the enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase forms 2-phosphoglycerate. This phosphate from the 3 part is shifted over here to the 2 part, and it becomes 2-phosphoglycerate from 3-phosphoglycerate. This is the work of phosphoglycerate mutase. I would say first remember the steps, then go for structure. If you give us the structure, of course you will get better marks, but for the giving a wrong structure, it is very wrong. Rather than for that, avoid giving structures if you are unable to remember it properly. Next. In the next step, 2-phosphoglycerate with the help of an enolate, not enediol, it is enolate. One H plus goes out. This bond shifts here. And this actually shifts in this direction. So the double bond comes over here. And an OH goes out from here. And it forms the famous compound phosphoenol pyruvate. This double bond, this OH goes away here, and then immediately a double bond is here, formed here, and this is known as PEP or phosphoenol pyruvate, high energy compound. Magnesium ions is also needed here. Then you have the final step of pyruvate kinase, where ADP is converted to ATP. This phosphate goes over here and forms ATP. And you have pyruvate. Pyruvate then enters the Krebs cycle or TCA cycle. This is the, always remember all over here into 2. So basically 4 ATP is formed and 2 ATP is utilized. 2 NADH is formed. So let us have a look at the overview. Glucose, hexokinase, ATP to ADP, glucose 6-phosphate, glucose isomerase, fructose 6-phosphate. Again, ATP is hydrolyzed, phosphofructokinase, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is formed. Aldolase breaks it into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. This is then dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted by triose phosphate isomerase into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So basically you have 2 molecules of this formed. Then this happens now, whatever 2 gap per glucose. So that whatever happens over here in this, it is into 2. So this step takes place. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, a very abundant enzyme after chlorophyll, and NADH plus H plus is formed, and ATP is generated in this step. Another water comes out by the help of enolase. Another ATP is so there are 2 ATPs. So 2 into 2, there are 4 ATPs which are formed, and 2 NADH plus 2 H plus which is formed here. This is the overview of glycolysis.
স্যার তো টোটাল কটা এটিপি খরচ হলো?
দুটো প্রথম দিকে।
পুরো গ্লাইকোলিসিসে এখন অবধি দুটোই হয়েছে ইউজ?
প্রথম দুটো স্টেপ।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
একটা খরচ হলো, আরেকটা খরচ হলো।
হুম হুম।
ওকে, and
ঠিক আছে।
into 2 into 2, 4. So net gain is 2 ATP, 2 minus 2. So what you gain from glycolysis is 2 ATP molecules.
ঠিক আছে।
Okay. So this is the homework which you must do. I will send this slide to you. People do a homework. So net production 2 ATP per glucose molecule in glycolysis. So essentially, this is one part of glycogen. Before I go to the next part, I would like to see if anybody has questions. If you have questions, please raise your hands. Nobody has questions? কারোর question নেই?
না স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
দাঁড়াও দেখি চ্যাটে, গ্রুপ চ্যাটে কেউ কিছু লিখেছে কিনা। নো স্যার, ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার। সৌরভ দুবে, সম্ভবী, ওকে স্যার, ওকে স্যার। আচ্ছা, so again I am going to the next part. So before I go ahead, there is somebody who wants to meet you here.
Hi, she's so cute. Hi, Anika.
Anika এসে গেছে। Now this is what she is doing. So you have met her And now let's go back to the next part. So balance sheet, so 2 ATPs expended in glycolysis, 4 ATPs produced. So glycolysis omitting H plus, this is the whole reaction. In aerobic organism, pyruvate produced in glycolysis is oxidized to CO2 via Krebs cycle. In the next class, I will be talking about Krebs cycle. So the ATP pyruvate produced in glycolysis is oxidized to carbon dioxide. In the Krebs cycle, carbon dioxide is produced. Okay, so carbon dioxide is produced. The funny part is carbon dioxide is produced from the glucose, pyruvate, pyruvate which is formed from glucose. And oxygen is formed in the electron transport chain from water. So basically, why do we need oxygen? Oxygen is only needed for the electron transport chain. Otherwise, oxygen is very bad for the body. Body tries to maintain a reducing atmosphere. So body tries to maintain a reducing atmosphere. But oxygen is needed for life just because of the electron transport chain. Yeah. Otherwise, I will explain why it is needed. Not in today's class, but it is needed very minorly. So in aerobic organism, pyruvate produced in glycolysis oxidized to CO2 in Krebs cycle. NADH produced in glycolysis and Krebs cycle. In Krebs cycle also more NADH is produced along with FADH2, is reoxidized by the respiratory chain in the electron transport chain to produce more ATPs. So essentially, it has been seen that there are about from one molecule of glucose, 30 ATP molecules are totally formed. If you consider your Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. You don't have to read this fermentation. Okay. See, when suddenly in the absence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration takes place. So this pyruvate which is formed gets converted to a molecule known as lactate. The enzyme is lactate dehydrogenase. And all the hard work made in producing this NADH is gone and it becomes NAD+. Again, when there is oxygen, this lactate dehydrogenase gets converted back into pyruvate. So this lactate dehydrogenase enzyme, it converts pyruvate into lactate. So when you suddenly, after many days, you do a lot of exercise, you will see that your muscles start to pain. That is because your muscles, when you're exercising, they fall short of oxygen. And the condition in your muscle, it becomes anaerobic. And a lot of lactate accumulates. That lactate cannot move, and so your
Hello, sir.
muscle then provisions for more oxygen. So you the lactate is not formed. So if you exercise every day, then after a few next time you exercise, you will not have pain because your body basically knows that I have to provide for more oxygen over there. So this is what I told, this written over here, what I explained right now. Lactate released to the blood may be taken up by other tissues or by skeletal muscle after exercise and converted via lactate dehydrogenase back to pyruvate, which may be oxidized in Krebs cycle or in liver and converted to glucose via. That is something which I will come in the next classes. Lactate served as a fuel source for cardiac muscles as well as brain neurons. Some anaerobic organisms metabolize pyruvate to ethanol, which is excreted as a waste product. So, the beer which you drink essentially is a waste product of a fermentation of some alcohol, some animal which has removed it. So, this pyruvate, which is formed, say your yeast or something, which grows, you give them a carbohydrate source like malt. Malt is a high carbohydrate source from where you malt sugar, maltose sugar, Maltova or Horlicks, they have got lots of amount of malt in it. So when that is fermented in the absence of oxygen, when carbon dioxide region, this pyruvate gets converted first to acetaldehyde and that gets converted into ethanol. And this is the ethanol which you find in beer, you drink and you get drunk. That is because this ethanol, it dehydrates, absorbs water and you get from your body and you get a good feeling. But when this is metabolized, it's got other harmful effects also, but temporarily you feel good. So the enzyme which does this is known as alcohol dehydrogenase. It converts pyruvate into ethanol. Beer or, for example, Scotch whiskey or whatever, all those are work of alcohol dehydrogenase. So this is the reaction of glycolysis. This is fermentation. So this is the whole energy equation which takes place. I will explain what delta G and all these things when I complete. I will show this figure and I will explain what this delta G is when I talk about thermodynamics and during when I'm teaching enzymes. The first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics. Right now at this point, this is not, don't bother about this. So three important enzymes, they control glycolysis, that is hexokinase, phosphofructokinase, and pyruvate kinase. So if the body has got lots of ATP, then hardly it is not, glycolysis is not needed. So lot of ATP present inside the cell, it will inhibit these enzymes. Hexokinase, PFK, and pyruvate kinase, because you don't need any ATP because you have enough ATP in the body. So why will hexokinase work and why is PFK work and why will pyruvate kinase work? Why is it needed? It will not need it. It will be stopped immediately. It will inhibit this enzyme. Inhibit this enzyme means PFK will not make 1,6-bisphosphate, fructose bisphosphate, 1,6-fructose bisphosphate. It will not make from fructose 6-phosphate. Hexokinase will not convert glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. Because why? It's not needed. So this is local control. Global control is from hormone activated like insulin, glucagon. When glucagon, what it does, it removes, increases blood sugar. Increases blood sugar means what happens? The sugar from the starch glycogen is broken down and more sugar is formed in the blood. So that is global control. So hexokinase is inhibited by the product glucose 6-phosphate. So lot of glucose 6-phosphate will inhibit hexokinase. if your substrate, the product, if there is lot of glucose 6-phosphate, why will more glucose 6-phosphate be made? So it is inhibited by the product glucose 6-phosphate. This type of mechanism is known as product inhibitions. Glucokinase is a variant of hexokinase found in liver. Glucokinase has high Km for glucose. It is active only at high glucose concentration. So, brain has got lots of hexokinase and your liver has glucokinase. So, glucokinase has got a it's got a lower affinity for glucose than hexokinase. Hexokinase has got a higher affinity for sugar, glucose. So, when your body is starving, during starving, brain will get the first call for glucose, because if you have 10 glucose molecules, because brain is most important for the body to stay alive, brain needs food, so brain needs glucose, so it has got hexokinase. Liver doesn't need, so liver has got glucokinase. So when there is lot of glucose, then liver will get, but when there is less glucose, then liver will not get, brain will get first. So this is another level of regulation. Glucokinase, the regulatory protein, inhibits it. Next is pyruvate kinase. Same, lot of pyruvate, it will stop. Substrate level inhibition. If there is lot of pyruvate, this step will not take place. PFK, it's the same thing. PFK has got it is allosterically inhibited by ATP. Allosteric inhibition is a type of inhibition. What happens? How do you inhibit? This is the active site of the enzyme. Say my palm is the active site of the enzyme. This palm is the active site of the enzyme, right? And so when there is a direct inhibition, so an inhibitor will come and directly bind to it, and the active site won't be able to work. Or something will come and destroy the active site, it will not work. But allosteric inhibition is something, it will go and bind at another site and say this hand is holding on to a pen, it will bind over here and it will exert so much pressure in the hand that any object in my hand will fall away. So it binds to another place apart from the active site, and it modulates or it regulates the enzyme activity. It is like somebody is not directly taking anything from my hand. It is binding to some place in my hand, and my hand is dropping away that thing. This is what allosterically. So ATP does this allosterically to phosphofructokinase. So phosphofructokinase is holding to fructose 6-phosphate to make fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. But suddenly lot of ATP is there, it suddenly binds the phosphofructokinase in such a manner that it releases the fructose 6-phosphate. If it releases the fructose 6-phosphate, this fructose 6-phosphate will not get converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So this is one level of regulation. And so this is the PFK activity, and this is the concentration of fructose 6-phosphate. So when there is low ATP means more ATP needed, more glycolysis. So PFK will function more. So what will happen? You see the reaction PFK activity, it increases very high till it reaches, of course, a saturation. But when there is high ATP concentration, it is very slow. It doesn't work like that. It goes lags, and here it goes logs. AMP is just opposite. If there is lot of AMP, it will promote PFK activity. This I will go in the next part. So this ends my slide, and so this is the end of my lecture. Anybody has got any questions? Let's see what's written in the chat. Anybody has got any chats? Any questions? Please raise your hands. I will answer them. किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन है? कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है? Okay, then bye bye then today.
ওকে স্যার।
হ্যাঁ স্যার ঠিক আছে।
Okay, bye bye.
হুম।